This upgrade makes sense for anybody who does their own winterizing. It takes about the same amount of time to install this as it does to disconnect the intake line and put a suction line on into the antifreeze jug. So once you've done it, every other year is going to be that much quicker and easier. The water pump is located underneath the sink and underneath these two access panels. There are 4 screws here. I took them out earlier and never put them back in. They don't really serve a purpose. Okay, we'll remove the first access. And like I said, this one was screwed in. Okay, that's the water pump down there. This is the intake side of the water pump, so you're going to have to remove this piece here, take this hose off, and you'll end up putting the valve in between the intake and the intake hose. So the first step is you have to drain the water tank completely. And there is the valve down there. I've already done that. You just turn it in line with the hose and wait for the tank to drain. I'm going to go ahead and also drain all the low points and turn the water pump on just to get rid of any extra water in there. In the 23T, there's a set of drain valves underneath the shower. You can access them through this panel here. There's just 4 screws. Okay, it just slides out. And there's your 2 valves. So just put them in line with the hose, and that'll drain the low point there. Also open your faucets and your shower. That'll allow everything to drain straight down through. Valves are located underneath the seat, right beside the hot water tank. So we'll take that off and open them up too. This also had 4 screws on it. I took them out a while ago. Didn't replace them. They're just a pain in the butt, and they don't really accomplish anything. I think it's just there so you don't use this area for storage. These are the 2 valves down here, so we'll just open them up and let that drain out. Right here is the winterizing bypass for the water heater, so you don't fill your tank with antifreeze. We'll take care of that later when we start pumping. I'm winterizing today. Also, I'm just going to drain the hot water tank, make sure that all the water's out of the system. So it's just this plug right here, and you open up the relief valve so that everything flows through. This is a 15/16 socket with a universal and extension. Makes it nice and easy to take off. Also make sure you have your hot water heater off for a while so the water has a chance to cool down. This heater really is warm. Everything's drained up. Throw the pump back on and wait for all the water to pump out of the lines. The tank's empty and the water pump has been run. The line should be free of most water. So go ahead and start taking this apart. Okay, now take off the intake hose. This was just hand tight on mine. If it's too tight, you can use some channel locks. There, just take that off and move it to the side a bit. This original white washer off. The adapter nut has a washer built into it. Okay, we'll just snug that up. Not too tight, but enough to compress that rubber washer. Now we add the bypass T to the suction side. Make sure the flat side of the valve is facing away from the pump. We'll make it nice and snug and then put it in a position so that all the hoses will be convenient and you can still use the valve. That should be good. And if you're lucky, the hose will be long enough to fit over the end of the T. Looks like it will in this case. You're going to want to use the white washer that we took off the end here and install it in the end of the T so that the intake hose has a good seal on it. This part of this install is getting the threads started on the intake hose. The angle isn't good and the hose is a little short, and this is a really small space. But if you keep at it, you'll get her. So we'll just, again, tighten that one up. Finger tight should be good. We'll test it anyway. The last thing you have to attach is the suction hose for the antifreeze, and that just goes on top of the T there. So we'll get that screwed in. Okay, we have that on now. I've got it finger tight now, and I'm just going to tighten it up with the adjustable. It up a bit. It's plastic, so I don't want to over tighten it too much, and it is the suction side. Shouldn't be a problem with leaking. Install is complete now. The way you operate it, normal condition, drawing from the freshwater tank. Valve is in line with this pipe. When you're winterizing and sucking out of the jug of antifreeze, the valve is in line with the clear hose. And it's as easy as that. Well, that was about a half-hour install. And now going forward, it's as easy as just flipping the valve and sticking this in the jug. Well worth the effort.